This film study is going to be about Tavon Young and his impact that he's having for the Ravens in 2021, returning from 2 injuries. I think he's having a quietly amazing season. A really solid against the pass and man coverage, underrated in zone coverage, uh, great acceleration, great tackling ability. To me, he's a complete football player. Here he is right here in week 2 against the Chiefs. This is going to be his interception when Odafe Owe gets the quarterback pressure on his delayed stunt. He gets to the football. He attacks the football when it's in the air. He only has 1 interception this year. I think he had 2 interceptions a couple of years ago. You see he's stayed in good relationship between these two receivers. Obviously, the ball could be thrown to this receiver here, but Owe was able to get there and pressure Mahomes enough to where he made a really poor decision throwing this football. And Tavon Young just hangs out in the area and has the awareness and the savvy. And then you'll see from the end zone angle, he protects the football when he catches it. I just think he's got a super high awareness level. Actually, I didn't show you the end zone level. End zone there. You're going to see a couple slot blitzes here against the Lions, the Broncos, and the Colts. You'll see his acceleration, his burst off the edge, and then how he finishes tackles. We have trouble tackling this year. Tavon Young has generally not been a part of that equation. Great tackling ability. He's really a gifted, just a hard-nosed football player, if you ask me. They use him in a variety of ways. I like this because he plays in the slot so much, either man or dropping out in some type of zone. And he does a nice job, usually, of disguising this blitz until the last second. And he's been free off that right side, the defense's right side, 5 times this year to my count. Same blitz here is coming up against the Broncos. He's going to get a hit on Teddy Bridgewater. Here he is here, lined up in pretty much the same position he was. He generally does this blitz when Houston is on the same side, and Houston's going to go B-gap to clear that edge for Tavon Young. You can see the burst and the acceleration and how he closes ground so much. And from the end zone angle, I actually do show you the end zone angle of this one. You're going to see he's off screen here. You're going to see how much he closes ground in the last split second before Bridgewater gets rid of the football. Here's the guy he was lined up off of, and you'll see him in a moment. Just the burst that he has off the edge. He's a perfect edge blitzer. And him and Chuck Clark set a real physical tone on this play. And then the very next play was when Owe, hit Bridgewater in the helmet and injured him as well. Another slot blitz coming from the same right side, and you see Houston is here as the edge player again. He's on in our nickel packages or our dime packages a lot. He's really not on the field a ton when there's 1 or 2 tight ends on the field, and that would be my complaint. I only see him on. I got him for 355 snaps this year, if I did my math right. He's off screen to our left here. This is the same play. He's free, and you see the concept of what they're doing. Houston is occupying the tackle so that Tavon Young can be free off the edge, and it's perfect design and implementation with our personnel. My complaint would be, this guy's such a good football player that I feel like he needs to be on the field more. He's on the field 22 snaps this past Sunday. Um, and his high for the season, I think, is 44 snaps, I believe. He's very versatile. So I've shown you him in the slot generally, okay, up here, guarding someone. And I will show you some plays of him getting beat by Renfro later on. But in this case, he's back here at like half field safety, guys. And you're going to get a route by Waller here, and Owe's going to try to jam him up. And I still contend that this might have been an interception. If it's not an interception, it's still a great play by Tavon Young. Waller's open. Ball's thrown a little bit behind him. And you'll see, because I'll rewind it here for you. Tavon Young looks like he picks this off the ground to me. So here's Waller in the middle of the field. He was just kind of jammed up a little bit by Owe, who looked like he's working out here to the curl. And Tavon Young is off screen to the top left. You'll see him after the ball's tipped. Right now he's right here behind the football, and the other safety's right here on the hash. I still think he picks this football. I mean, maybe I'm just biased because I'm a Ravens fan. Maybe the ball does touch the ground. No more than the ball touched the ground for the Browns tight end Njoku Sunday night, in my opinion. But bringing up old news. So he's good as a half field safety. He's good as a nickel DB in dime or some nickel stuff. He plays really well in man and as a zone player. And then he plays on kickoff team. He's our 5 here. So you're going to see him come down, and either him or the number 4 guy is the contain guy. If you're not familiar, you number from the inside out. And generally, your more athletic guys are your 4 and your 5. So it makes sense that Tavon Young is here. So he's going to come down here. I'll speed it up, and then you'll see him make the tackle. I don't have a bunch of special teams plays from him because I don't think people want to watch, a ton of special team stuff. Just showing you how much he contributes to the football team. So here he is right here. He's come down, and I believe his job is the contain or force player. So making sure that nothing gets outside of him. So he can't just attack like most people's scheme uses a hot 3 guy. So the 3 man is the guy who's just straight to the football. Tavon Young has responsibility here, and he makes a nice play. I think there's just a lot of good that he's done, a lot of good things he's done this year. His tackling ability transcends to special teams, which isn't the case for everybody, like I just showed you. But here's going to be a great tackle on a fast sweep, right to left on our screen, and Tavon Young is going to attack it. The Colts kind of messed this blocking scheme up on the edge, I think. 2 guys step to Averett. But in any case, it's a great tackle by Tavon Young in open field. And like I said earlier, we've had difficulty with tackling this year. His block destruction is exceptional as well. I think this is him right here, and we're going to get a screen, I think, to Pascal. They ran this against Tavon Young twice, and both times he refused to get outflanked. I had that drawn up wrong. It was actually the number 2 receiver getting the football. So it's a very difficult block for this number 3 guy to get out here to him. But Tavon Young's job is to maintain force relationship, so making sure that nothing can get outside of him here, and then he ends up making the tackle as well. Like I said, 355 snaps this year, and we've now played 11 football games. So what is that, 14 a game or something like that, somewhere around there. I think he could be utilized more, to be honest with you. This is the penalty against the Colts where this guy, Doyle, gets away with a cheap shot. He gets out here to block Tavon Young, and Young does a nice job of forcing it inside so that Jimmy Smith can actually make the tackle. So here's Young being blocked by Doyle. And some people were like, "Oh, he gets pancaked." Yeah, but he has to maintain outside relationship. If he's to jump inside here, well, then there's no force player, and the receiver can go out here. Jimmy Smith is able to make the play because of the way Tavon Young plays this. He's a really good, strong safety force player, if you ask me. I'm not sure why he doesn't get more reps in certain run situations. Maybe just because of the structure of our defense. We're not using an overhang player. I think he could help Chuck Clark, in my opinion, stay in a more consistent role. I'm going to give you the end zone angle so you can see it again. I'm sure most of you guys are Ravens fans, so you have seen this enough to know that it's always the second guy who gets called for it, even though Doyle gets a cheap shot here. Anyway, Tavon Young's in good relationship there as the force player, setting it back inside, even though he does get pancaked, all right? But he's got to keep the ball to his inside, so where all of his help is. And I coached force players for many years. That's a nice job. So they're getting ready to get up, plays over, and Doyle pushes him down. Clear cheap shot. I mean, should Tavon Young have responded this late in the game? No, he should have more maturity than that. But we all understand why he did. I mean, that's an absolute cheap shot. I still can't believe the guy didn't get fined for it. At least I don't think he did. So I've shown you a lot of plays of him being physical, making tackles on special teams, the interception against the Chiefs, the near interception against the Raiders. Let's do some coverage stuff. So Tavon Young is here in the slot, and he's going to cover a wheel route by this receiver who I believe is Keenan Allen. I could be wrong, okay? And watch how deftly he dodges this other route that develops here. I'm not saying it's supposed to be an intentional pick route, but he's very smooth. There's very little deceleration there. Look at the timing that he uses to go behind that route, which is essentially, a screen route, even though I don't think this receiver did a nice job. To me, when we get a wheel, we want to run like a post to try to keep that defender on the inside of that post. But in any case, you got to give Tavon Young credit. He's very aware of his surroundings, the players around him. This is the interception by Deshaun Elliott when we played cover three. A great interception by Elliott. I think that Tavon Young could be used more to try to replace the loss of Elliott because I think he's a better cover guy than Elliott and both Chuck Clark. And I think he proved it, particularly in this Bengals game. This is Boyd for the Bengals, and I'm going to show you 3 or 4 plays in a row here. Tavon Young shut him out or shut him down. The guy probably had some catches. I really don't know. I didn't go back and look at his passing yards against stats or anything. I'm unable to access. I don't have like a PFF account, but I know that he's playing really well. You can see it on film. I'm not saying that those stats don't matter, but you can see what he's doing against quality receivers. This is 83 again, and Tavon Young is going to stay with him through a ridiculous number of moves. They're going to complete a pass to Higgins on a drag. Bynes runs with him, okay? And it's a great catch. Great catch by Higgins. But watch what Boyd does. There's like a series of fakes back and forth to try to come back to the football. And Tavon Young is on his hip the whole time. He's a dog. He's a dog. And I think he needs more reps. I mean, there is nowhere for Boyd to go. And you can see that Tavon Young is going to pick this ball off if Higgins doesn't make a great catch over top of Josh Bynes. And I'll show you the end zone angle so you can see how great of a catch it was. So Higgins has run a drag across the field. Bynes is going to pick him up. Burrow spins out of there. You can see that Tavon Young not only is in great relationship with Boyd, but he's thinking football here. And Bynes is doing a wonderful job. Staying tight here, even though his back is turned, but all zone becomes man eventually. Look at the margin for error that Burrow had. I mean, really, that's sick. That's sick. Tavon Young just does a nice job in being across the way so that if that ball is deflected or dropped by Higgins, Tavon Young is in position to get another pick. He really shut down Boyd that day. I'm a huge fan. I think this is going to be a zone. No, it's the next one. It's another man coverage against Boyd on like a 3rd and 6. Boyd's going to run one of these routes, and you'll see how physical Tavon Young actually is with him on this route. I mean, he's physical. Makes contact with the receiver, refuses to give in. This is going to be a zone. Here's Tavon Young here. He's going to drop out to like the curl. Humphreys is going to get off, so you would think that's like cover 3. And Jamar Chase runs this little in. Dangerous throw by Burrow, but Burrow throws it quick because he makes a nice read that Tavon Young's getting off. But watch Tavon Young tackle Jamar Chase one-on-one. Now, Chase is trying to change directions, but just a great tackler. A complete football player. Complete football player. There's probably going to be zero interest in him in a Pro Bowl type guy because of the stats. He only has 1 interception. I think he's got 2 sacks, multiple quarterback hits. I think 22 tackles so far this year. Now, he had a lot of trouble in week 1 with Renfrow. This is a 3rd and 2, and Renfrow's going to fake the China in. So, China out or whip is like that. This one, he fakes the China in and then goes back out for like the fade or the corner. A really difficult route. You wouldn't expect them to run this route when we're bringing so much pressure. The announcers, if I remember right, pointed it out multiple times. Difficult route for Tavon Young to cover, and he gets called for a pass interference. Obviously the right call. Look at the route by Renfrow. I'll slow it down for you. I mean, Tavon is there, and then the third move gets him. So he had trouble with Renfrow. We got a little scared, I think, of Renfrow. I shouldn't say scared, but showed him almost too much respect. Look at the distance between Tavon Young and Renfrow. This is just going to be, snap the ball and throw it. and then easy catch for Renfro because we're not really challenging him. As the year go, really after this game, Tavon Young decided, or the coaches decided that he was better being up in press relationship against the receiver. Same thing here is Tavon Young, and you got a bunch formation by the Raiders. All right, so Tavon is going to be guarding Renfro, who's going to run across the formation, and you can see there's a lot of space and a lot of separation there. Just too much room by alignment on that 3rd and 10, and that one was disappointing. We know now that if we saw this again, you're probably talking about Tavon Young being up closer and actually challenging this route because again, it's a 3rd and 10 if you didn't see the sticks on the sideline. So he had a lot of trouble versus Renfro, but so did all of our guys, right? I mean, Humphrey did a nice job on Renfro when he got to guard him. You can see that it's 3rd and 10. So disappointing that we give up this first down. I fully believe that if we face them right now, Tavon Young is going to do a much better job against Renfro. He's played great since this game. He didn't play horrible, week 1. It just was not his best moments. This is, I think, Pascal. He's guarding him in man. And you can see just how much dog there is in Tavon Young. He challenges till the last moment and knocks the football away here. He's a Raven. He's a Raven. Way better coverage skills than Chuck Clark and Deshaun Elliott in the slot here. As good a slot corner as I remember us having, except for our absolutely great defenses that we've had in the past. But the season he's putting together, in my opinion, is quietly extremely high level. Same play from the end zone angle. You see all the space here created because we don't play RPOs well. Not saying that this is necessarily an RPO, but the back is definitely crossing Wentz's face, and Patrick Queen is moving forward. So all this space is vacated. And normally you would expect a completion there on an in-breaking route like this. Nope, Tavon Young competes, gets in there, and knocks the ball away. Maybe the receiver was bobbling it anyway. He breaks on the ball well, whether in zone or man. So I think he's going to get a short in route by this number 1 receiver. And here's Tavon Young here. Watch how quickly he breaks on this ball and makes a nice tackle. Great tackling skills. Great tackling skills. He may be one of our better tacklers in the open field. Matter of fact, I know he is. Patrick Queen is there to support, and you get the end zone angle of this too, I think. No, you don't. I apologize. Second time. He's up here in zone now, and I'm only using this to show you how patient he is. Both of the receivers here are going to go away, and Tavon Young just gets width and depth to keep everything in front of him, so he gets width and depth so he can keep his eyes here because he knows that eventually something's going to be coming back to him, and it does. Now, he's not targeted on this, and in fact, guys, I'm going to be honest with you, he's not targeted much at all compared to our other guys. At least when I see him on the field, he is not targeted. But you see, he's done a nice job of being patient. Those 2 routes have gone away from him, the 2 receivers that began the play on his side. They both go away. And he's in zone, so he keeps his leverage side, keeps everything in front, looking for work. He found some work on the late drag. It was like a mesh concept. But they don't target him, obviously, because Brissett ends up getting pressured, and then Board gets a gimme sack by pushing him out of bounds. One thing I have noticed is, and I don't really have a ton of evidence of this. I'm almost done. Tavon Young is not on the. First of all, I said he's not targeted a ton. I don't have access to the stats, so maybe some of you guys do, but and I wasn't going to look it up and try to find it. I looked a couple of places and was like, oh, okay, I can't find how many times he's been targeted. I know he hasn't been targeted as much as Averett and Humphrey. Granted, he's only been on the field for like 355 snaps. But one thing I've noticed is on our big pass plays that we've allowed this year, Tavon Young either isn't targeted or he's not on the field at all. Now, am I saying what the relationship is there? I don't know. This is Jamar Chase's touchdown that was somewhat embarrassing. But you get an out-breaking route by the guy he's guarding, and then an in-breaking route by number 1. And again, Young is able to stay in good relationship to this guy while dodging, 2 players here, one of them for the Bengals and one of them for the Ravens. He's a very savvy, very aware player. Long catch and run by Jamar Chase. Am I saying that, if he's guarding Jamar Chase, that doesn't happen? No. I'm just saying I've noticed it enough. I went back and looked at our 8 biggest pass plays this year. He wasn't targeted on any of them, or like this situation here, he's not on the field. So he's generally not on the field because this is our base defense. There's Bowser, there's Owe, 3 interior linemen, 2 inside backers, Queen and Bynes, and we've got Chuck Clark walked up in the box. And I've talked about this play ad nauseum. Chuck Clark doesn't read the tight end well at all. He steps down with the back, and it ends up being a 3-on-2 over here in the Bears' favor. What's my point? I'm interested in why he's not on the field more because I feel like he's doing a great job in man coverage. I feel like he does an equally good job in zone coverage just based on my film study. And just so you know, I pulled 64 plays. Um, so I'm looking for nickel and dime situations because that's when I believe he's on the field the most. That's the package that I believe that the Ravens deploy him in. He's not on in our base defense very rarely. Some against the Raiders in Week 1. Um, but I think there's some evidence there that the guy needs to be on the field more. Maybe even in our base defense in some situations. I know we have a lot of talented guys, but this guy does it all. And I knew he was a good player, but from watching the film for the last probably 4 days and putting this video together specifically for Monday night, I was surprised at how solid he is. Now, it's possible that I've missed some plays, to be honest with you. So you guys may remember some times when he was beat more than the ones that I just showed you tonight by Hunter Renfrow. Let me know what you guys think of my breakdown, how accurate you think it is in terms of his level of play. Am I saying he's a Pro Bowler? I mean, no, just because the stats don't support it and his snap count is low. But he's a very unique talent, a very unique talent. I don't think guys come along like him that often who can play equally well in zone and man, who can tackle well, set the edge on screens, are very aggressive, and appear to be tough as nails. I mean, I didn't like that he got up and pushed Jack Boyle, but I like the fight that's in him. To me, like I said, he's a Raven. I'm really interested in how long the Ravens can keep him and how much they can use him because I think he's got a wide variety of skills. And he's a better cover guy, like I said, than the 2 guys we had starting at safety most of the year. Am I saying that he should have been starting over Chuck Clark or Deshaun Elliott? No. Am I saying that in certain passing situations we need to make sure that Tavon Young is on the field? Absolutely. Needs to be on the field in passing situations. I believe his presence helps us because the only explanation I have for the reason why he hasn't been targeted a lot is because other teams, coaches, and quarterbacks see him on film and they'd rather go at other guys than Tavon Young. Let me know what you guys think of that thought there and what you think of the film breakdown in the comments section.